You know, it's always interesting watching young artists make their way through the whole entertainment industry maze, especially like when they're dealing with the big companies.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And today we're looking at exactly that kind of situation unfolding right here in Hong Kong.
Yeah, focusing on the singer Gigi Yim, incredibly talented, and she just hit her 20th birthday.
That's right. Gigi, who many people will know as the winner of Sound of Dreams, you know, that huge singing competition.
Oh, yeah, massive.
So she's reached this big milestone, turning 20, but it's happening at a really pivotal moment for her career, particularly thinking about her relationship with TVB.
Right, the broadcaster. So for this deep dive, we've pulled together info from, well, quite a few places. Online articles from UHK, Ming Pao Weekly, on.cc.
And even some really quite detailed analysis put together by her fans, which gives a different perspective.
Exactly. Different angles. So our kind of mission today is to really get to the heart of Gigi's current situation. We want to explore, how she felt about turning 20, and also unpack the complexities around this TVB contract stuff.
Makes sense.
So where should we start? Maybe with her birthday itself. Seems like a good entry point.
Absolutely. I think Gigi's own words about her 20th birthday was April 9th. They're quite revealing. She posted on social media very personal stuff.
Oh, yeah? What did she say?
She described this real mix of feelings after going to the Coldplay concert at Kai Tak Sports Park, which, that was a pretty big deal itself. First major event there.
Huge deal. And it wasn't just the concert high, was it? It was more about what happened after.
Exactly. She talked about unexpectedly bursting into tears when she got home, even just while doing homework.
Wow.
Yeah, she mentioned feeling a bit lost stepping into her 20s, which, I think a lot of people can probably relate to that feeling, right? New life stages.
Totally. That vulnerability, it feels quite raw, doesn't it?
It really does. And it seems like the emotions kept flowing. She got tons of birthday messages, apparently.
Ah, okay.
And she specifically mentioned one from her cousin, a recorded birthday song that set off the tears again.
So it highlights this weird contrast, right? Feeling happy, celebrated, but still crying.
Precisely. This kind of duality. Happy on one hand, but also maybe overwhelmed by these other deeper feelings bubbling up.
She used this phrase, didn't she? Something about washing her face with tears, calling it beautifully tragic.
Yeah, beautifully tragic. It's such a striking image, isn't it? Really captures that bittersweet feeling.
It does. But she did end it looking forward, talking about embracing this new chapter at 20, hinting at a new journey.
Right, so there's definitely this sense that she feels she's on the verge of something significant, maybe even a transformation.
And it wasn't just her reflecting alone, right? Friends celebrated with her too.
Oh yeah, seems like it. Mentions of celebrations with her university classmates, cake involved, naturally. And she also gave specific shout-outs, thanking a Miss Chan for taking birthday photos and bringing another cake, and a Miss Wong for a gift. Little details, but they show her personal support system.
Which is probably really important, especially given the other side of the coin, the trickier stuff, this ongoing contract dispute with TVB, and the reports about her being sidelined, the whole snowband thing.
Exactly. Here she is, winner of Sound of Dreams, huge public profile straight out of the gate. You'd think she'd be set for a massive career launch with TVB.
You would.
But then reports started surfacing about, a pretty significant drop in her work opportunities. And her income, obviously.
And this all seems connected to problems renewing her contract, right?
That's what the sources suggest. Issues around the renewal. It's just such a stark contrast, isn't it? The initial hype and potential versus this apparent standstill.
And it's not just fewer jobs. She's also been facing some pretty harsh online criticism.
Yeah.
People calling her ungrateful or saying she's forgotten her roots. That feels quite heavy for someone so young.
It's incredibly harsh.
Yeah.
And, it's worth noting, as one of the articles pointed out, Gigi's own birthday post didn't actually mention the snow ban or the contract issues at all.
Oh, interesting. So she kept it separate.
Seems like it. Her focus was squarely on the personal side, turning 20, the emotions, the new journey idea, maybe trying to keep things positive publicly despite the background noise.
Right. Now, amidst all that uncertainty and negativity, one thing just leaks out. The incredible fan support she's getting. Her fans, the G-Way, they seem seriously dedicated.
Oh, absolutely. Their commitment is pretty exceptional. The fan analysis piece we looked at really goes into detail.
Yeah, what sort of stuff have they been doing?
Well, they've apparently poured a lot of time and, frankly, a lot of money into supporting her during her birthday month. We're talking things like MTR Lightbox ads,
Okay.
not just one or two. Across 20 MTR stations. In Hong Kong, that's a huge undertaking. Massive visibility.
20 stations. Wow.
Yeah.
That's serious investment. What does that tell us? Is this like a new kind of fan response when they feel their idol is being mistreated?
It certainly raises that question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's definitely beyond just buying albums. And it wasn't just the NPR.
No. What else?
Bus body ads, too. Again, super visible all over the city. And they even organized charity events in her name.
Really? Charity events, that takes it to another level. It's not just about promotion then, it's about aligning with maybe her values or supporting causes.
Exactly. It shows a deeper connection, I think. And it wasn't just local either.
Go on.
There were LED screen birthday messages in shopping malls, in Shenzhen, over in Fujian, and even in Malaysia.
Malaysia too. Okay, so this is coordinated, widespread support. It really underlines how strong that bond is between her and her fan base.
Definitely. And the fan club's online messages for her birthday were apparently very touching too. Talking about her journey since she was 15, hitting milestones, and just saying they're right behind her, waiting for her to get back on stage.
It really does feel like more than just a standard fan artist thing. There's a real emotional investment there, isn't there? They're invested in her growth, her future.
Exactly. Which brings us neatly to the core dynamic here. You've got this really emotional, fan-driven relationship based on loyalty, appreciation for her talent, her personality. And then you contrast that with the relationship with TVB, which is, well, it's formal, it's contractual, it's commercial.
Yeah.
Based on legal agreements and financial terms.
Yeah, two very different kinds of relationships operating at the same time. And the fan support shows they recognize something in her, right? Her talent, her charms. Things a contract doesn't necessarily create or guarantee.
Well said. They've invested emotionally in her development in a way a large company focused on its own targets might not, or perhaps can't.
And that just highlights the power imbalance that often exists, doesn't it, between the artist and the company?
It really does.
Yeah.
Contracts dictate so much. The work, the pay, the promotion, the commercials, everything. And when disagreements pop up, especially over money or control, well, sadly, it can lead to situations like this alleged sidelining Gigi seems to be facing.
And the sources also suggested that TVB's management of her appearances, her image, because of this contract issue, has probably limited her freedom, her autonomy.
And potentially held back her development opportunities, too. It's like her career's stuck in pause mode.
What does that kind of holding pattern do to a young artist long term, besides the obvious money issue?
Well, beyond the lost income, being out of the public eye for too long or not working can really slow down artistic growth. It makes it hard to keep momentum going, stay relevant, and it could even damage their reputation, unfairly or not.
And there was also that point in the fan analysis about inconsistencies on the official website, something about her work history not being fully listed.
Yes, that was mentioned. Gaps or maybe inaccuracies in the official record of her experience. And little things like that, they can easily fuel mistrust, can't they? Raise questions about transparency.
Definitely. You need that clear communication, that trust between an artist and the company. And with the fans, too. Lack of transparency just makes things worse.
Absolutely. It feeds speculation, can escalate the tension.
So thinking ahead then, what happens next for Gigi? What are the options? This snow ban has clearly hit her opportunities hard.
Undeniably. Fewer performances, less income, that's the reality right now. And like we said, the risk to her public image from those negative labels.
But are there other possibilities emerging?
Well, yes. The on.cc article, for instance, mentioned reports that several big record companies are interested, specifically named Universal Music and Sony Music as potentially looking to sign her.
Universal and Sony, okay, those are major players. In today's music world, what could a big record label offer her that maybe TVB, being mostly a TV station, couldn't?
That's a great question. Labels often have, global networks focused specifically on music. Deeper expertise in music production, artist development, marketing music internationally. Things that might not be a broadcaster's primary focus.
So this difficult period, this low point, could actually be a turning point.
It really could. If she manages to connect with a company, a label perhaps, whose vision really aligns with hers artistically, it could open up completely new doors, maybe doors that were closed within the TVB structure.
It feels like her situation might also say something broader about the industry, doesn't it?
I think so, yeah. It reflects some of the big shifts happening, traditional TV stations facing challenges in the digital era, and newer generations of artists They often want more, say, more autonomy.
More control over their work, their career path.
Exactly. And maybe fairer deals commercially than some of the old models offered. It does make you wonder, is Gigi's situation just one specific case? Or is it part of a bigger trend? Young talent wanting more independence, maybe looking beyond traditional media giants.
Towards record labels, or maybe even going independent.
Potentially.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like those traditional power structures are being tested.
And maybe there are lessons here for TVB and companies like them.
You'd hope so. Perhaps rethinking artist contracts, more transparency, better communication. That could be key to avoiding repeats of this kind of conflict.
What could they actually do, though? What concrete steps could help build better relationships with young talent now?
Well, really listening, maybe being more flexible in contracts to match how the industry is changing today, prioritizing the artist's actual development, their long-term career, not just the immediate commercial gains.
Building trust, basically.
Yeah, building genuine trust, showing commitment to their artist's goals. That could make a huge difference, I think.
So wrapping this up, we've seen Gigi Yim hit this really emotional milestone, turning 20, but it's happening against this incredibly complex backdrop with TVB. And through it all, the one constant seems to be this amazing, unwavering support from her fans, the Jie.
Absolutely. And the sources we looked at really highlight that tension, don't they? Between the fans' deep emotional investment in an artist's journey and the colder commercial realities of the entertainment business, where contracts and corporate decisions can just completely change the direction of a young person's career.
It really leaves you thinking. So here's a final thought for everyone listening. What does Gigi Yim's situation really tell us about how the power balance is shifting, or needs to shift, between young talent and these huge, established entertainment companies in our media world today? And maybe, how can artists navigate all these complexities to actually build careers that are not just successful, but sustainable and, well, fulfilling for them in this new era?
That's the big question, isn't it? Definitely something to mull over.